Hi, we're on the server. You see that church? We've finished that church, but we're working on a town for to be in, and we have some plans laid out here from a while ago, laying out different streets, kind of like a little square section, a couple buildings maybe. We don't really have too much laid out just yet, but I've been thinking, and we have changed these plans a couple times, but might as well change them again. I've had a change of mind, so basically, this white wool here with the two red things is kind of our viewpoint that we want to keep for the church, and I figured it should kind of go along a pretty major pathway, especially if you're coming in from this direction, because that direction's Jim's base. So if Jim's coming in, he's going to walk around a path, and it's going to go back and forth maybe, and kind of lead it to this spot here where you see the church. Now, that's good, but I actually don't want the church to be in view the whole time. Now, maybe from a distance, you can kind of like see the little steeple or whatever, but like whenever you're about like right here, I don't want you to be able to really see the church much. So we need like a building or something like right here, that's fine. But for actual like framing and stuff and like the layout of the city, it makes sense that we would kind of try and like have more of like a path and a reason for there to be a path here, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that the best way to do that is to kind of have a river that goes through the town. So we're going to have to plan that out. It's going to come through near here. It's not going to be like right here because then you wouldn't be standing on ground, but it's going to be near here so that we have a reason for a path to like kind of come in through this direction. And then it's going to continue moving around around to the back of the church, and that will also set up a couple of viewpoints from like around this side. You'll have kind of like trees and stuff in the background around the river. That way you kind of have like a little bit more of a background and stuff. I think that'll look cool. But we gotta do some stuff first before we get into actual plans of things. We gotta flatten this area out. We have grass at this level that we can continue placing out and kind of meet up with some of these hills, flatten some of those hills out a little bit. That way we can like get grass in the first place. But anyways, we're gonna flatten this out some more. That's actually probably gonna be a lot of what we do for the next few episodes this season because there's quite a bit of space that needs cleared out. Anyways, let's get started on this. Okay, we have flattened a bit of this area out. We still need to probably do more before we actually like start really building anything, but we can at least mark out the plans that I want to mark out today. We might get to the point to where we're like putting up wireframes for a building or two, but for right now, I think what we're just gonna do is focus on this path, right? So I was saying before, I think that I want to keep this sightline intact, but I need kind of a reason to have a path here. Because I do want the city to operate off of a grid. So right now we have a rectangular plot for our church, and we're going to continue having rectangular plots like everywhere. So we're going to have kind of like a city grid, and because this like city is meant to be pretty new and not very like aged just yet, the grid isn't going to be broken up by too much unless there's a good reason why it would have been broken up in the first place. So why have a path here if it's not on the grid? Well, I think the thing that makes the most sense is if there was a river that comes through here. Now that would also make sense with the kind of like city I want to build, the kind of way it would be structured and all that, having a little like river through here. It does make a lot of sense, and then we can kind of wind it back around the back of the church. It can kind of just disappear for reasons we'll get into in future episodes probably, so we don't actually have to like have it make too much sense and like it go uphill or anything like that. We'll just kind of like make it disappear at some point probably, but we'll at least kind of like have it go around to like maybe right here, which is why we've kind of cleared out this much area. We'll have it kind of like wrap around and then kind of bend towards this direction and probably just stop here. That will allow us also to kind of have a little bit more of an organic shape for our churchyard, which will make it kind of look a little bit nicer, I think. I'm not a too big fan of this fence anymore. I think it kind of worked at the time, but we're going to change our planes now a little bit. And then we're also going to like have to change the planes of some of these buildings and stuff. But anyways, I'll get into all of that, probably like getting a little build montage or something. I'm going to have to get new shears, I think, but I do have wool. I have plenty of that. And I also have plenty of iron in the industrial district, so we should be well stocked. Let's get started on this. This is an indecipherable mess of colors right here. What is happening? Okay, well, I did kind of what I was gonna say. Blue line is the river, so we have wool there. We have gray, which is kind of like where our sidewalks or roads are kind of bordered. So we know kind of where they're going to be. And then with this white path is just the line that I think people should travel down whenever they're coming in from this direction. They'll travel down that line. We have brown wool, which is going to be buildings of different kinds, or at least kind of like the lots for buildings to occupy. We have like little alleys here, which are a little bit too thin to do much of anything in. So we might have like a little bit more of a gap on either side, but this is kind of what this gap is supposed to be in the little alley here. We have our main road here still, which is going to kind of like go straight down towards the church. I'm not sure what this building is going to be. I have a good idea for that building right there, but I'm not so sure about this one. So we're going to leave this for a moment, kind of think about things of what would make sense in a like downtown area next to a church. And then I kind of removed the border that was going down this line. So there's no longer going to be a road right here, I don't think. I think what we're going to do is expand the churchyard a little bit so it's a little bit more organically shaped, and maybe add like a graveyard or a parsonage, or maybe both, so that there's kind of like a little house right there. You can see there's blue wool all the way out there. That's the same river that's going through there. We're gonna have like trees and stuff on the side of the river, like on the river banks and stuff, so it looks like there's kind of like a little bit of nature left. So we'll have like a little background of trees, a parsonage, and then maybe like a little graveyard right here in this area, and then maybe kind of like another road that comes in through here, and right about there makes another line through the city grid. I think that makes sense. But yeah, that does mean we're going to have to change out this church a little bit. We're going to have to change the fence, basically. That's not really too difficult, and I'm not too attached to the fence. Maybe this front fence can actually stay, because we are going to keep this road here. So that might at least make a little bit of sense. It doesn't make too much sense, because you can still kind of just go around it on this side where there's the river. So I don't know. But yeah, we can at least keep kind of a fence. Anyway, what now? What are we doing for the rest of this episode? Well, I don't know about the rest of it, because I don't know how long this episode's going already or anything like that, but I do have a good idea of what to do in this area. I have a kind of idea for an inn, just like a little building, and maybe like a little stable out the back here, which is why I said this lot kind of lends itself to that kind of shape, because it's an L shape. We have a little area out the back here. It also kind of makes sense for it to be off of the main road, and have like a little off-street parking kind of thing for wagons or horses or whatever. I don't really know about horses specifically, because of like how this is supposed to look. It might not make sense for like actual horses, but creatures to be stabled that pull wagons. Yeah, we'll have a little inn here. It should just be kind of like pretty simple. Of course, we'll have to build it in our style and everything, but for now we're just putting up wool wireframes and planes and stuff. So we'll have a building here, a little like hut shelter thing in the back. That way things can come in. But yeah, I think that makes sense. We do need to plan out some other things. Like, I think I have a good idea of like what to do over in that area with the parsonage and stuff as well. So we can also do that, but we'll just focus on this right now. Okay, I think this kind of works as a beginning. I don't really know that this building is going to end up looking really anything like this. Of course, we are going to change like at least minor details of the shaping so that it kind of has more depth and everything than just, you know, completely flat here. But this is kind of just the general idea. We have kind of like two shapes here. We're going to have like one kind of, I guess, A-frame there, and then another one that goes through here, and then a tower right there, and also the stable out the back here. So we have everything marked out to kind of start making a plan in a creative world at least. But before I get started on that, there are a few things we need to think about, and it's mostly going to come down to other buildings in the area. So this is the most downtown this town is going to get, right? So this needs to be the like biggest, fanciest kind of buildings in the entire area. So I kind of need to make sure that I'm working with the right style before I go off and kind of like dwindle out from here into smaller buildings and kind of like, you know, just less houses, less dense, you know, kind of areas. So we'll get into that later. We need to kind of build more buildings up and kind of plan out the general size and shape of them, because this might not really fit in the idea that I have in my head right now. So we might need to change things a little bit. But I don't have a good idea for this building just yet. I do have a kind of good idea for the parsonage and the graveyard and this area. We're going to work on this next, I think. Now, unfortunately, you can kind of see there are areas that are less than flat here. I don't think this will be too big of an issue to really get like to really be bothered by. Of course, we are gonna have to like maybe flatten out some of this area in the back more. I don't know. We'll get into this. I'll maybe flatten things out first, and then try and kind of put a parsonage somewhere around here and a graveyard somewhere around here, and it'll be marked out at least. That way we can get to work on it later. Because yeah, we're not doing that this episode. But anyways, let's get started. Alright, I think that works. I mean, it's a little bit disjointed and weird, but I mean, it's just a wireframe, you know? It's also a little bit out of scale. I've been kind of struggling with the scale, I feel like. This one feels a little bit small compared to like what it's supposed to be, but also at the same time a little big. I don't know how that makes any sense, but it does. I've been trying to kind of keep in mind that we are going to be at this level. Like once the ground is in place, this is going to be the actual floor level, not the grass that we have here. So like it is going to be a little bit smaller. But there's also this building over here that feels a little off in scale. Like it kind of feels a little small now. Oh no, it's really hard. Like I did this church, right, without thinking about the scale at all, because it was the first building. I didn't have to think about the scale. But now that we have a building, we now need buildings to be in scale to that building. And it just feels weird. It's like, if you look at the different buildings next to each other, they're like, it's kind of weird. I don't know how to do scale. I'm going to have to figure this out. mostly in a creative mode world, I guess. But since I've been doing wireframes and stuff, I have been kind of getting ideas of what these buildings are going to look like and the shapes and everything. And I think I'm ready to make a wireframe for this building pretty soon. Not like today. We don't have time today, even if I wanted to do it today. But soon, we're gonna do a wireframe for this. I think, which is pretty cool. We're making progress. We've been off the server for so long, it just kind of felt like we weren't making any progress at all, even once we came back. But we're actually, actually doing stuff now. It's really fun. I don't think there's much more I can do in this episode. I guess I could maybe dig or something a little bit, but I don't really have too much time. I gotta get this shipped out. So I'm gonna end it here. Now, it is a little bit short. It is a little bit short. Most of the episodes for the last couple of weeks have been, for obvious reasons. I'm making 2 episodes a week. I got this channel, and then I got another one. Link will be in the description, like always, of course. And we're actually getting like into the meat of that series as well. So like we're getting somewhere there as well. It's cool. We're making progress. But anyway, I won't mention too much more than that. Go check it out if you want to see what I'm doing over there. We're into the episode. Thank you guys all for watching. God bless.